I'm reviving some of the best ideas from my previous podcast venture, Faux Reels, which I co created with a friend. As I develop my content for the Questions That Keep Me Up All Night podcast, I'm drawing inspiration from those early conversations. To share a more personal side with my audience, I've curated a mini series featuring solo recordings from Faux Reels, introducing Faux Reels one sided conversations, a unique glimpse into my thoughts and perspectives. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Queen Sheba. So, today on the For Reals podcast, we're going to be talking about mental strength. Mental strength. So, I am reading this book. This is the second time I'm going through the book. I didn't finish reading it the first time. I'm trying to go through it again. It's called 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. And she's got a lot of really, really good nuggets in this book. And I'm going through reading again. And I just want to read a very short clip just so that we can kind of talk about it. Today, we're going to be discussing grief and grief in many ways, not just it could be the death of a relationship, the death of a job, the death of a thought, in a very depressive state could cause, death for anything like that or literal death. But Amy Morin says developing mental strength isn't about chasing happiness. Being mentally strong will help you to be more content in life, but it isn't about waking up every day and trying to force yourself to feel happy. Instead, it's about making the decisions that will help you reach your full potential. I think that's very poignant point because I think a lot of times they put the two together. Like either your mental health is great, meaning you're happy, or your mental health is bad and you're sad. There's never like a in between, or there's never like a striving to be better. There's never like a trying. And then happiness, I think a lot of us don't understand. Happiness is fleeting. Joy, there's a difference. Joy is like this internal thing. Like when you go through life and you have joy, that don't mean you're always happy. That doesn't mean you're always smiling. That doesn't mean you're not having rough days. But you have joy because there's some foundation that you're going back to. So again, developing mental strength isn't about chasing happiness because happiness is fleeting. So if it's something that's fleeting and you're continually chasing it, you cannot have mental strength because you're going to be drained. In the last few months had a major loss in my family, and actually outside of that one major loss, three deaths. Actually this year, four deaths, and I would say that two of them were major losses. I wouldn't say that the other ones weren't, but I wasn't as close to the other ones. And I have been living my life for a long time thinking that I'm strong, talking about being mentally strong, and my help comes from my faith. My help comes from God, but a lot of times I forget that. And I think that it's me that's holding everything together. So, months after the major loss, I can't hold myself together. And I find myself in a state that I feel like is very mentally weak. My dirty clothes are overflowing on a pile in my bathroom. I just redid my room to get it ready and nice, and now I can't seem to keep it together. I know that I am breaking down because, yeah, like there's times that I'm messy, but like at this point, it's just like it's piling up and I'm very overwhelmed, but I don't feel like doing anything about it. Because I'm so used to being busy but I'm tired because I'm mentally tired. And so instead of being mentally strong, which I'll open that up for you to interpret whatever you think that might be, I'm actually been masking it with like stay busy, but that's not strength. And I feel like I'm buckling right now. Well, I don't know what you think mentally strong is, but I think I've always been one of those people who knows what's wrong. I know how to identify it and I know what I have to fix. I've always been that person. I've always been that person where it's like, oh, you don't have devotion enough. Well, I know that. I'm able to say that. Oh, you have an unforgiving spirit to this person. I know that. I volunteer that information. Yeah, I 100% call myself all the time. I'm always that person that knows what the situation is that needs to be fixed. The next step is then fix it. That's usually my issue. And in this way, I've never had a parent die. And then it's hard for me to even say that because a parent is someone who parents over you, and he didn't parent over me. So is he my parent? There's so many mixed emotions. Never thought in my life I would feel the it's like this weird sadness. I can't even describe it. It's this really really deep sadness where it's like I'm looking for this man. I remember when I was a kid, he wasn't around often. And it was funny because we lived in the same city as we thought he lived. Sometimes, like one time he was just like gone in England for a while or whatever. But another time we didn't know that, he lives like right around the corner from us. We didn't know that for like a year and a half, 2 years. But it was funny because we would be walking down the street or on a bus or something like, wait, is that daddy? That is daddy. And so what's crazy is that full circle now that I know he's gone, when I go back to my hometown, I'm walking down the street and I'm like, is that him? Is that him? When I know he's not here. The Bible says, the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Neither have they any more a report, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also, their love and their envy is now perished. That right there embodies what you're saying. It's like there's nothing between us anymore. There's no anger. There's no, why can't you be a different way? It's gone. There's no expectation. It's not there. It's just purity. It's wow. It's just purity in his death. And now, he's my dad. Yeah. So this is how that came about. I don't know if this makes sense to anybody. I don't have any regrets, but I wish that things were different. And I know that's oxymoronic because regretting is wishing that things were different, but regrets would mean that there is something that I felt I should have did and I didn't. I think back like, man, should I have done this? Should I have done this? And knowing that if I had, maybe I wouldn't have this feeling of love towards him right now, because maybe I would have gotten into even more of a tiff with him or whatever it may be. And so I don't say that I regret, but I do, there's still that little girl. And yeah, like she was always waiting on her dad. And now for sure he's not coming. The post, what really happened, and the reason why I started out saying that I have no regrets is now going into something that may seem like a regret. As I was planning the funeral, I realized I don't have any pictures with him as a kid or as an adult. I don't have any pictures with him at all, except like I think there was one picture with the whole family at another funeral a while, like some years ago. And I wanted, like, I was going back looking on YouTube at old videos of him and stuff like that. And I'm finding out stuff about him I never even knew. And, I noticed that he had all this jewelry. And so, one of his girlfriends at the time, I asked for his jewelry. And she says, oh, that I was gone a long time ago. And, to me, there's some controversy in that because in speaking with my uncle, my dad with a lot of things, he pawned a lot of stuff, but according to my uncle, he never pawned his jewelry. And so I was angry about that because I don't have any pictures with him. And And now I don't have his jewelry or anything, a keepsake. So the one thing I took, my uncle said, he loved this Quran, and I took his Quran, and I have it, but still, that's it. And even more so, going back to the post, I knew his birthday was in October sometime. I also knew that his birthday was like my stepdad has a birthday around the same time, so I knew it was in October sometime. But because we were not close, I've never celebrated his birthday. I've never celebrated his. I don't even. The last time I remember celebrating his birthday is when we were kids, and we found out that he was living down the street from us, and my mom made cookies for him, and we burnt them because we were vegan and we didn't know cook any cookies. And we bought him a bunch of right. We bought him a bunch of burnt cookies. And that was the last time I ever remember knowing about his birthday, celebrating or anything, right? So my sister hit me up and was like, hey, I don't know what the comment was, but basically it's his birthday and I put this video on social media, but because I'm not on social media, she sent it to me. I was like, thanks, but I'm not watching that right now. Like I haven't been able to look at it. And then my mom called, and this is while I'm at work. So my mom calls me and I'm like, I sent her the voicemail and I'm at work. And then she, texts like, hey, I just wanted to check and make sure you're okay. Then I put two and two together and I'm like, crap. Like I was fine. I was just fine because I didn't know. And then my cousin, hey, cuz I'm just checking on you because I know it was uncle's birthday. And I'm like, I was fine until my sister sent this, my mom called, and now you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even know his birthday. And maybe I knew around the time, whatever, but I never celebrated it. So it wouldn't have been a hard day for me. Until then, right? And then, I couldn't hold it together. Now I'm at work speaking about being mentally strong, and I'm telling myself, this is your job. You need to get through this. I came to work the day he died, left his side after they pronounced him, and came to work. I'm about business. Like, just let's do it. And there were so many times throughout that day that I couldn't hold it together. Not because I went into work sad, but because now the realization that I didn't even realize it's his birthday. And I'm supposed to feel some type of way because now it's his birthday. Or I feel like people are thinking I'm doing too much because they're like, yeah, right. Y'all wasn't even cool. How, you're doing too much. I think I was going more so through the turmoil in my head because I was crying literal tears at my desk. Mind you, I work in a room with everybody. So my desk is turned away from people, like my face is turned away, but like we're in one, and not just tearing up, it's coming down because every time I glance at my phone, there's that video, even though I didn't watch it, but his face is on it. And it was rough to try to like, okay, I'm good. And then 2 seconds later, I'm laughing. And I think most people just thought I was like sneezing and stuff. I don't think anybody caught on to it. But just going back to the post, also in that moment, the week before, I found out somebody that I've known since before she was born, passed away. And for me, in that moment, I was like, I'm not a good sister. I'm not a good friend. Because if that were to happen to me, I'd be so busy. I'm so whatever. And then again, I went back to, I'm not a good daughter. And in that moment, also with dealing with this person dying and now it's his birthday and I didn't even know it was his birthday, it took me back to me finding out some things about him at the funeral that I was like, oh, really? Like, oh man, like there's some things that were so great about him and I see it in myself. And so I took to my, it's not social media, but it's a form of social media, but I took to it because only your friends can see it, to just pay homage, to just pay a tribute. Like he needed that. He didn't get it when he was alive from me. And I felt the need. I felt like I was losing it. Because every time I turned around, I was like crying. And I did actually, yeah, I was like, I sent a text out to somebody and I just told her like, hey, I didn't realize, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I'm losing it. And I'm at work right now. And this is somebody that I know is a prayer warrior. And, it's funny how our relationship even became a relationship. But she's still like this is somebody that I know that you'll understand, Dorchester. This is somebody that I know she's praying for me. And it doesn't matter. Like, I'll hit her up and say, hey, can you pray for such and such? She's like, I just got up. She's like, I'm always praying. Like, and I know that I'm on her mind. And a part of that it's like sometimes I don't call her because I don't have time to talk to her, but she still be thinking about me. And so, I'm just grateful that, like, in that moment, something told me, like, I just needed to text. And I actually, me texting it and seeing that I text that, like, this is what I'm feeling, it kind of calmed me down a little bit. Yeah, because, like, sometimes you think you're crazy. If it's in your head, you think you're crazy. You're just going back and forth between these emotions. And it's like, it's like you have to ground yourself. I think people can take away whatever they can from this, about being mentally strong, because I think the will to push through, there's a difference between you saying, you don't care, and I'm strong, I got myself. There's a difference between that and, like, the will to push through, the will to make it through, knowing that you need people in your corner in order to make it through. And that is being mentally strong, knowing when and who to ask for help. So, you guys, you heard it here first on Faux Reels podcast, that life is like a prison with the jailer throwing you either white chalk or colored chalk. You either choose to draw a timeline or a beautiful portrait with the colored chalk. Until next time, I am your host, Queen Sheba, and we'll see you next time on Faux Reels.